Hello, everyone, and I'm recording now, and this is workshop number 7. In this workshop, we are only covering week 7. For week 6, we didn't have a workshop, actually, the liquidity. So the liquidity will be covered in next week. And I think with week 8, so we have credit risk 1, credit risk 2, and liquidity will be covered in class, in test 3. Now, test 3 is actually will be a little bit challenging comparing to test 1 and test 2. It's not because I want to make it challenging, but because the materials of week 6, 7, and 8, it's actually the core of banking, liquidity, and lending. So I will post for you. Please take care of this workshop, the tutorials, and the recordings, and they will also upload for you the test of semester 1 and semester 2, 2020. Hopefully everything will be okay. Now, the way I planned this tutorial at this workshop is I will go to the, I will start with the calculation. And to start with the calculation, I will go to the contractual and the expected return. As you understand, in this area, we have these two formulas. They are the only formulas we have. So we have one formula, which is the contractual 1 plus K equals 1 fees plus basic rate. And this has to be 1 minus the compensation balance, 1 minus R. This is the contractual. Now we will get the K. Then, of course, the K will be this one minus 1. Just to remember in the exam, you have to take 1 up there. Now, after we get the K, we will get the expected return, which is actually the probability of 1 plus the K, this K. Okay, minus 1, which is the principal, minus the principal, okay? Don't forget this one. The formula will be given to you. Now, according to this, if we know this, we can play with this formula. So if you look at this question, consider the following, and this is very important for pricing. And the pricing, as I told you, is part of the underwriting risk, which is the terms and conditions. Because when we talked about single loan, this is just, you are not responsible about this in the exam. I put it in the video. We say selection, which is the modeling. Selections means credit scoring to say, oh, this one is eligible or not eligible for the loan. And then if it is eligible, we go and say, okay, let's sign the contract. And we start with the term and conditions, which is a covenant, and plus how much we will charge him, the pricing. This is the pricing, is through these things. Actually, through the contractual. This is the contractual one. For the bank, when we do the contractual, we know end of the day, we will only receive this, okay? So this is the single loan. And then we have what we call the operational, and we didn't talk about the operational, but most of our work here in week 7, we are talking about this issue and this issue, okay? Now, here, consider the following formula for calculating the contractually promised gross return in loan K per dollar, which is this one. Which of the following statement is true? The denominator is the promised. No, it's the numerator because it's K, right? So it's So actually when we say denominator is not the promised, so this one is killed. The denominator reflects the direct fees plus the loan interest. No, numerator, which is the fees and all these issues. Let's go to D. The financial institutions benefit from requiring compensation balance must consider the benefits of holding additional non-interest bearing. No, this is not true. We are benefiting from this, but this for us is a cost because it goes to central banks. We are not benefiting from this. What we are benefiting is the compensation balance, which is the P, which we keep it in the bank. This one is taken by central bank. And this is why this question is not correct. Now, the only thing, and I think if you see this for the first time, you may get confused a little bit because the right answer is this one, which is the formula ignores present value specs. That is true. That is true. Because if I have a loan of 5 years or a loan of 6 years, actually I'm concerned about I'm receiving this K through the years, through the life of the contract. So there is one K1 and K2. So it doesn't take into consideration, discounting all these amounts to time zero. Because if there is a loan who pays every second year, different from a loan who pays monthly, different from a loan who pays, semi-annually. So the time is very important. So the time value of money is not considered in this formula, but since it is a standard one, they are not actually calculating the profit. They are actually just pricing. Now, how much they will get, it's another issue because if you are going to talk about this, also you need to talk about this when it comes to present value. So present value is ignored here. Second one is just a calculation, which is a normal thing, which is you have, this is 5%. Oh, no, we have a problem. Yeah. This is the fees. No, it's okay. So this is the fees. This is the compensation balance. This is 10% the reserve. So it's 1347. And as you can see, I will just highlight it. This is the 8%. And this is the 10%. Now you are ready to calculate it. I think the basic rate is there is a question here. Sir, no option available. Oh, sorry, we have a question. This is the risk premium, 3%. Yantang. And for Nelly Lam, I cannot find the answer for students. Let me go to the answer, which is, don't worry, I will just check it. Let me check my records here. My friends, in your question, I think we have a problem here. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. There is no problems. Everything, life is just beautiful. I just want to thank the students who talk about the, look in the questions. I think this is the problem. This is the problem. The option is not here. So I will just change this one to be, please change it in your area, in your, oh, sorry. This one delete in your version, okay? Is this what you are talking about? My student from China? 12.6, yeah, I already take it off. Yeah, so Nelly, please change there 1347. So the answer is 1347. Is everybody okay with me? I'm really sorry about this typo. I saw it yesterday. I was planning to then, so please change this one. Okay, guys? So let me go to back to this question. So this is actually the right answer. I think if you correct it, you will find 1347, okay? I think I knew it after I uploaded, so I didn't want to change then student download two types of, it's only this one. Okay, let's go to any other questions in this stage? Can I move?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, thank you. Let's go to the next question, my friends. So the next question is, this is interesting. Why interesting? Because if you look at the formula, 1 plus k, they are saying this is the fees. This is what we have. So, and this is 1 minus. All of those are known, including this, including the k. So the k is actually, as you can see, the k is 17%. And we know all of this except this one. So they want us to calculate the PR. And this could be, given any time in the exam. I don't have also to ask you for the K. I can give you all those things and they say, well, I don't know how much the bank charged as a fee. Can you figure out? And then they give you all those things and you can figure it out. So actually in this example, you can say 17% according to this formula. If I'm, and then you can say it's, and then this is the basic rate plus M, which is actually 3%, and then you can calculate this to be 1 minus how much? How much is the, I think this is 15. We have a question here. Sir, are we able to calculate this on the financial? I think you can do that. No, this is not in the financial calculator, but if we used the brackets and all these things, some of the calculators just put the brackets and everything, and then I didn't use the calculator, actually. I didn't use it's not in the calculator. It's not one of those famous, formulas. But you can calculate the numerator and then denominator and then, yeah, calculate manually, but not fully manually. So if you calculate this, you will find 117, as I told you, to be, yeah, this can be just for your, I know, sorry, I don't want to do all this for you. I know you are mature enough to do it. I think if you calculate now for the X, you will find that 12%, which is this one. So this you can play with that, you can play with this. How can I say? These issues. This is, you can consider it as the X, and then solve for the X. I think this is. Okay. Yeah. So if you calculate it, it will be like this. It's just an easy thing to do. But I just, the reason I'm doing this, because sometimes some of those tricks, huh? Okay. So let's go now to the credit scoring. Now the credit scoring, I will start with the first question. Which of the following statement is true? A credit scoring model is a mathematical model that considers borrower's credit rating. No, the problem here. It's not, because credit rating, something to do with the rating agencies. It's not rating, it's not credit rating. This is rating agencies. And number two, a credit scoring model is a model that relies on expert knowledge. This is no, because this is judgmental. And number four, let's go to D, a credit scoring. You can, this is what we call machine learning. And you can do, by the way, machine learning, you can do, which is natural models. You can do credit scoring modeling, you can do forecasting, you can do so many things. You can even do credit risk modeling. But when we talk about credit scoring, it's a different issue. We will take the defaulting people, as I told you, we will use a regression. For example, we will regress Y against this is the, if you know about regressions, you will know about it later on, and you will find the variables. This is B1, A2, BX2, and then until we reach until the error. So you can take so many variables here, and then you put it in the regression. They will show you which one is significant. So if this y is actually the probability of defaulting, if it is the probability of defaulting, then you add all those issues. You can add all the variables in the earth, no problem. But none of them will be, even the rain, the fall rain, the level of temperature, the pollution, whatever you like. You can put all of those as long as you have data. But end of the day, the regression will tell you it's not significant. They will only show you the significant variables. And the significant variables, they will give you a coefficient. So you, by that, you will know this, and you will know this for a certain company or for a certain model. Then when a new customers come, you already know this one. For example, if this is the age and this is the income, you know the weight, which is the coefficient for the age, and the income, which is B1 and B2. You just bring this guy, how much is income? Maybe 3,000 K. Age, maybe like you, maybe 21 years old, credit card. You are not 21, some of you are 18. So this maybe 3,000 K, whatever. And you continue like this. So in this case, they will give you, because they will give you a value here for the probability of defaulting. Now, the probability of defaulting is the one that you will see, this is a benchmark. So all this, the Y will give you a benchmark. Whoever benchmark from the data of the last 10 years, you take all the defaulting people and you put them, and you see what is the significant, what makes him actually defaulting. Is it the income or what? So it will show you all the variables. Then when somebody else come, and you know the benchmark, and you know people who default actually scored such and such value. So when a new person come, if he score more than him, that means he doesn't going to default. If he score like the model or less than the model, that means he is within this average defaulting people. You just reject. This is the whole thing. I am not asking about this, just for explanation. You are not responsible for this about regressions and tests, whatever. Just to let you understand, when we say a credit scoring model is a mathematical model, yes, which is this mathematical model that uses observed borrower characteristics, which is this one, the age, the income, such, I don't know what, the number of family members, address. This is the observed characteristics to calculate score representing the applicant probability of default, which is, this is actually reflecting the probability of defaulting. This is how I want you to understand it. That doesn't mean neural networks does not work, but credit scoring has nothing to do with this. This is a machine which will build all the relationship by itself. You put all the data and like big data, whatever, and it process it and will comes with some, like the mind of the man, or like our minds, whatever. Machine learning is another issue. Okay, so this is the question here. So this is false because, as I told you, it's not our answer. The right answer is here. This is a discriminant model, which is the Z-score. And we already said that Z-score is, should be for Eltman, it should be, as I told you, it's either which you reject, or which you actually accept. Here you just reject. And here, if it is between 181, there is a question. Sir, is it always 181? Yeah, yeah, yes. It's not always. It can be from 0 to whatever numbers. It can be between 0. Mavis, this is a question from one student, said, is it always 181 to 299? No, it's from 0 to, I can say to infinity, but I can say it's a continuous number. But within this number, between this 0 and the infinity, whatever, there is a number which is 181 will be here, 299. This is an area which we call it, this is an area which we call it critical area. Critical area. Now I will tell you what the critical area, but for the Z, in this case, we go with it. We don't go. We go for sure 299 and above. This is the critical one. Okay. So the student now. So this is the issue of. And there is a question about this. We will talk about it later. So now when you calculate, now all this information, this model is standardized. Use it in China, use it in US, use it in Malaysia. It's X1 to X5. It's coming from the regression that happened long time ago. And they think, and it's based on, and this is a business loan, credit scoring for business loan. Why? Because we are using financial information. This is financial report information. Sir, no option available. Really? Again? My friends, please go to the, I want to thank the, my student from China. Thank you. I think you go here also. Make this 3.71. Okay, please, everybody change at your end. This 270 not right. I think this is the two typos. I have this one and this one only. So we have this one and this one. Okay. So can you change this in your version? Okay. So this is 371. I hope the rest are okay. I hope the rest is okay. Let's see. Okay, so we calculate x1, x2, x3. Most important, when you do it, this is very straightforward, but you have to understand how to calculate the working capital. So the working capital now is the current asset minus current liabilities, which is this minus this. And then retained earning is there, no problem, it's already there. And then for X3, EPIT, which is interest expenses, because you have profit before tax, but you want profit before tax and interest. So you have to add this and this. This is what we have done. 200 plus the 20 over the total asset. So we calculate it. And then market value of equity is straightforward. Market value of equity is straightforward. It's just the long-term debt. Now the long-term debt, you have to calculate it because it's none of those. So if you take the total assets and the total liabilities of this financial statements, this is the assets and this is the liabilities. This is liabilities and this is the so this is the assets and this is the liabilities. Now the total asset is how much? I can calculate the long-term debt. Working capital, APT, EBIT, long-term debt is actually the total assets, which is this one. Total assets, which is the 500,000, which is the total liabilities. Total asset equals minus total liabilities. So this one is actually, there is here what we call current liabilities. And we have here equity. And we have here our friend, which is the debt, long-term debt. I know this, and I know this, and I know this is 500,000. And I know this to be current liabilities is actually 60,000. And I know the equity to be book value equity is 60,000. So I can calculate this to be 380. If I am not so, this one. So actually minus 60, minus 60. So this is actually 380. So because I'm taking the 500,000, decrease it from those to get the debt. Because I know the total asset is 500, and I know the total liability is 500. So this is the only things that we have to consider, and then we can calculate the z-score. And as you can see, this z-score you can actually accept. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next question. Hopefully here, no problem. This is have no problem here because everything we need is there. The working capital is there. Total asset is there. Market value of equity is there. Book value of long-term debt is there. Return earnings there. EBIT is clearly there. Sales revenue is there. So it's very easy to calculate X1 to X5. And if you calculate them, you will find them here. X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. No, nothing, you know, so it's 3787 or 3.88. This is for the Z. We didn't cover the linear model, which is the 3 factors. This is the 5 factors, linear probability modeling. We are just covering the discriminant model, which is the elements. Okay. Any questions in these two ones? Okay. Any questions? Are we okay?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So,
no, sir.
okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So this is just to answer Mavis. Mavis asked me before, is it always between 181 and 299? And I explained, but this question is clearly saying, how would you what is the interpretation of this score of 225, which is actually, this is between the area of 181, 29, it's here. So the 225 is actually here. So the question is, does this score lies within the safe zone and thus loan should be granted? No, it's incorrect. Z, if it is 299 granted. The Z score lies within the high default. No, high default is when you are less than 181. And the Z score lies within the zone of ignorance. Somebody would say, what is this zone of ignorance? And thus the borrower may or may not default. Zone of ignorance is we call it zone of ignorance, which means if you want to take another term of this, just for your understanding, it's up to your considerations. You may discuss it with your bosses. They may bring it to the ELCO committee, which is Asset Liability Committee. If it is a big loan, this customer is not very strong, huh? It's not very strong. You cannot compare this with somebody who is having Z like 5. Z something like 5 or 6. And you cannot even consider a customer who has 3 and somebody who is already like 5 or 7. This is, of course, stronger. And this is why you have to play with this premium. You know, play with this premium and see how much you charge. Yes, the question is, Chayala is saying the higher, the greatest the Z score is the better, right? Yes, the better, the greatest, the better. The greater, the better. Z score, even in the normal Z score, this is ultimate Z score, but even in the normal Z score, we have another Z score, which we don't talk about it. It's a measure of risk. Also, we wanted the Z to be high, but for Eltman, we want the Z to be higher. But look, for the linear probability modeling, which is the BD, linear probability modeling, it will calculate the probability of defaulting. Eltman calculating the Z of the calculation because that one has X1, X2, and X3, right? For the linear probability modeling. That one, it would show you the probability of defaulting. So the lower, the better. Did you understand, my friends? We have 2 Z's. We have the Z for Eltman, which is 5 factors, X1 to X5. And this is, as Shaila is saying, the greater, the better. Linear probability modeling, which is the first model, which is X1, X2, X3, which is one of them is the profit. We calculate the probability of defaulting. So the lower, the better. Because we are calculating the probability of defaulting of the customer. Did you understand, my friends? This is a question, just remind me of this. This is the linear probability modeling. And this is Eltman. Eltman Z. Okay. Now, term structure. Any other question before I move from here?
No, sir.
Thank you. So there is another question here. Say if the borrower is in the zone of ignorance, we cannot say if it is risky or not to lend. We can say it's okay. We can consider the application. We can consider the application, but it's not like a complete green light over three. Just go and grant. You don't have even to talk to the bosses or to talk and to bring it to another committee. It's to consider, like when you apply to the university and you are, just in the borderline. This is they make it like in the borderline. That's what we mean. Uh, so this is what we mean by this by we don't reject, but um, we consider. Yeah. Now let's go to this question. This question is less as we are doing another model. So this model is debt to equity, assuming you did the regression and you find only the debt to equity is significant, and also the sale to asset ratio. So if this the case, then we can calculate the Z. So actually the Z in this case, according to this model, is 0.03 times DA over, which is actually how much now? 109 plus 0.15 times 2.5. If you calculate this one, the Z will be 6.645. Now, this is not ultimate Z. This is assume there is two factor influencing the past default behavior of borrowers. That being because ultimate Z is considered with those 5 factors, and you have to bring them. This is as a new regression, and you are saying no. So the model estimated. So the Z value is like this one. Now this is the Z. Are you going to accept the loan according to this Z or not accept it? It's another issue. You have to have a regression to know what is this model saying. What is the benchmark of this model? You have to know the benchmark of this model. The reason I'm saying this and the reason why this problem here, that means you can develop always models according to your bank and get the benchmark and then calculate the Z. The model will be there. But after you calculate this value, you have to compare it to something. What is this something? Called the benchmark. Now here, I didn't mention anything about the benchmark, but it will give you the probability of default. Whether you accept it, you don't accept it, it's another issue. You have to see if the probability of default is over the benchmark or below the benchmark. So this is just to calculate if you run a regression for your type of loans and you find it like this, this is how you calculate it. This is just to open our mind to some other things, to mini modeling. But the model we have, as I told you, Eltman and the linear probability, which is the 3 factors and the 5 factors. Okay, now let's come to another question. This is from the what we call the structure, interest rate derivation of credit risk, term structure. This is the term structure of the interest rate. So as you can see, if you have a 6% here, what is 1-year government security, which means the I now is 6%. What is the prepayment probability for each of the following securities? Assume the loan is defaulted. If the loan is defaulted, no payment are expected, which means no collateral. No collateral. Okay, and I understand now the Z, the I is 6%. Now I want to calculate the probability of payment when the K is 9.05. Now it's easy, just, probability of payment, because 1 plus I equals probability of payments 1 plus K. If you want to calculate the K, it's 1 plus I plus 1 plus K, which is actually 1 plus 6% over 1 plus 9%. And you find it to be 96.8%, 96.8%. So we have a probability of defaulting -1, which is 3.2%. Now for this 3.2%, we are taking how much? We are taking actually the difference between 6 and 3.5. So actually for this defaulting, we are taking a premium of 3.05. So just to show you how the things work. So you have here, as I told you, this is the risk-free 6%. This is the K, which is 9.5 for this company. It's here. This is the probability of payments from here. This is 0 probability of payments. Now we reach to here to be 3.2. This area is actually 3.2. This is the probability of payments. This is 3.2%. And for that 3.2%, I'm taking this area, which is actually 3.5% premium for this probability of defaulting. Okay, if you continue with this, it's the same thing. What if it is 13.5? This is very risky company. We calculate and we find, see, the probability of payment is 93, which means now the probability of defaulting is how much? Probability of defaulting 1 minus 93.39, which is actually 7, 6, I don't know, 641. 650, yeah, 651%. Okay, probability of defaulting. Now the probability of defaulting, if it is 651, we are taking 7.5% profit. Again, as I told you, if you look at this, it will be like this, like this, like this, 3.5, and here is 6.51%, and this is the okay, it is defaulting, and this is 6%, and this is 7.5%. Okay. Now, I think I have discussed this in the tutorial. Any question in those stages? Nothing, hopefully. If there is, just ask me, no problem. So here, I think we have solved this question before. The issue here is we have a collateral. When we have a collateral, the probability of payment, as I told you, yeah, there is a question. Can we come back to the graph again? Yes, I am here. Yeah. So the question is saying, sir, oh, thank you. Okay. So she said, the student said, thank you. So, but this is recorded, don't worry. Yeah? And if you have, okay. Thank you for asking. Now, this is the collateral. And as I told you, the payoff, when there is a collateral to the bank, is the probability of payments. This is how probability laws work. Probability of payments plus probability of defaulting. What do you mean probability of defaulting? Probability of defaulting means I am going to sell the collateral. And if I sell the collateral, it will give me 50% of my loan. So actually, I will have to calculate this. The probability of payment is the probability of payment of my principal plus 1K. And then I have the probability of defaulting is just the probability of payment, the 1 minus the probability of payment. This is the probability of defaulting times the 1K, but also times the, what we call the collateral. Now, as you can see, this is 0.095. And this is 1 plus 10. It's here. And then you have the 5%, which is this one minus 95, which is, make it 5%, times 1 plus, and then this is times 50 minus 1, which is the principal. So we'll find this to be actually 7.25%. This is how much they charge. They used to charge 10. Actually, what they get is 7.25 because this probability payment is deducted from both. Okay, this one is nice. Now, I want you also, this is when you calculate, when I give you, there is, the whole thing behind this question is, there is a relationship between probability of payment and collateral. If a customer, if you are in the bank, and this is this idea I want you to understand, if you are in the bank and the customer come to you, and if he if this guy is very good customer, which is the probability of payment is high, for sure, you will ask low collateral. But if the customer is probability of payment is low, you will ask for high collateral. So this, we say this relationship B and Q is actually B and lambda. Actually, this is the lambda. You can say it is the probability of payment of default. This is the collateral. This one is actually P and lambda is actually have a negative relationship. And we say negative relationship, we say they are substitutes. That's what we are in. They are not independent and they are substitutes. And therefore, if I can give you, look, for example, here when I calculate when the probability of payment, the collateral is only 50% of my loan, the probability of this payment when I calculate it of this customer is 94. Now, when the probability of, when I receive a high collateral of this one, the probability of payment is 50, dropped. Now, somebody will say, how can I calculate this one according to this? I think you can use also this formula. I think I brought it here. Use this formula. So the K minus I, this is the premium. And then you can calculate 1 plus I, because this formula looks a little bit complicated. This looks a little bit complicated for, if you like it, that's fine. If you like this one, is fine. But you can always use this one. So I am done with those questions. Any questions? I don't know how much I will cover from the. I'm not worried actually about the multiple choice questions and all these things. I'm just worried about these issues because the rest can be explained, and I already make some explanations. Okay, let me go now to. This is what I can cover, but the solution will be there, and then everything will be there. So I think I have only 9 minutes. I can answer questions or I can go with this one. Any questions? Okay, if there is no questions, let me go to, I think this is very clear. Why credit risk analysis is an important component of financial risk management. Because based on the credit risk, we determine the interest, the maturity, the collateral, and other covenants. And it depends from one customer to customers. And as you can see, high defaulted risks means high insolvency, especially if the market are competitive and the margins are low. Now, calculating credit risk now is becoming very complicated issues by time. And as you can see, because of the loan commitment, which is, contingent issues, and also the derivatives. This is derivatives. Because this we cannot control. This is related to the market. Because here, interest rate changes can come from market, and derivatives will be changed because of either exchange rate or interest rate or stock market volatility. All of this is out of control. Now, if it is out of control, I cannot model it. So this is why I cannot calculate the credit risk, especially when I go in derivative contracts. Okay, number 2, identify the, this one is actually reputation, leverage, volatility, collateral. This is a issue related to borrower specific factors. So also when we give a loan, we have to look to the business cycle and the level of interest rates. Now, this is very important because we can calculate how the customer will do. So if we are going to give a loan and we know that a recession is coming, then we have to be careful. And this is why bankers actually have to be economists. They have to have some background economists. They have to have some inside information from the government. They know how the directions of the inflation, they follow the political issues, they follow the mood of the monetary policy, what the government is going to do. This is top bankers. They know how to do that. Of course, if you are a technical banker, you have to understand this econometrics and all these issues in addition to finance. So we have to take care of business cycle and level of interest rates. Now, the problem with reputation, when we talk about reputation, for small companies, they are disadvantaged. Why they are disadvantaged? Because they don't have reputation. They could be very good, but they don't have history. Large business is more established. Now, if a company here started in 1970, like these huge companies, and they apply to loans, every information about them is there, so the reputation is there. But you find one of those startup ITs, high growth, they go, nobody knows them. This is how Facebook started and WhatsApp and all those big issues. If you look Facebook movie, they couldn't, they struggled to get that 50,000 loan. And when they get the $500,000 loan, they run like rockets. Yeah, so when you start up, it's a problem. Now, how does existing of high debt ratio typically affect? When there is a high, when there is a high debt ratio, it could be, it could lead to more interest charges, less cash flow, and less principal payments. But if you are efficient, actually, and you are taking a lot of debt, because the debt is cheap, and then plus you have tax benefit. If you are efficient, you can make very good here, even if you are high leveraged. So the bank does not take, okay, this company is high leveraged. I'm not. Some companies who are high leveraged can be high profit. This is what I want to say here. So for most, if you are going to be, you have high leverage, then you have to be very efficient. Otherwise, banks actually are worried about this issue. Okay. I think I will stop here. Why volatility of the earning stream of borrowers important to lenders? Because if there is a high volatility, there is an increase the probability of the payment to the debitors. If your profit like this, if this is the time, and if your profit is going like this, sometimes you are paying, but sometimes you cannot pay. If you cannot pay here, for example, customers will not wait for you. It's not like the shareholders. And here, even if you have a chance coming, if it is even 30 days difference from the, you are late. And this defaulting could lead to bankrupt, which means now if you are high debt, this volatility no good. Because there will be sometimes, there will be high profit and low profit, but this time, if it comes the payment while you are here, while the profit is here, then you cannot pay and then you can go bankrupt. But if you are equity people can wait for you, okay? I mean, the shareholders can wait for you. And this is why we're saying a high volatile earning stream increase the probability that the borrower cannot make fixed interest and principal payment default in any given capital structure, and when the payments fall due. So that may lead to bankruptcy. This is the problem with volatility. Volatility doesn't mean you are not profitable. It's just your earning going up and down. I will stop here, my friend, because I know its time is over for me. And if there is any questions, we will. I think there is a question here. Sir, hey guys, I joined the meeting slightly late. Have we gotten the attendance code? The attendance code will be posted in Moodle. Okay. The attendance code will be posted in Moodle. Okay. I will stop sharing now, and if you have any questions, sorry. Okay, guys. Any questions? Sir, will you post any videos to explain the questions for test 2? Yes, I will post a video. No, not a video, actually. I will post the with explanations. I will post the, do you want a video? I can record the video, no problem. But I have the answers with explanations. Chinky, attendance code will be posted in week 7 folder of model. Yes. And I will make announcement to the foreign students. I have all their names. I will send them an email. Kelvin, okay? Uh, um, Chinky saying answers with explanations is fine too. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so I have the answers. I can also post a video, but I have the answers fully, I think. I have also, I owe you also the this tutorial, last tutorial. I will upload it for you, which is this tutorial with the video, with the recording, which is tutorial of this week. Yeah. Um, any other questions, my friends?